Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something, well, universal. It's often quiet, kind of insidious, but it impacts all of us. Worry, you know that feeling, right? That mental treadmill just spinning and spinning. We're going to dig into that today.
Exactly. We're diving deep into Dale Carnegie's classic, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And look, this isn't just feel-good advice. It's actually packed with some really surprising insights and, importantly, practical strategies, stuff you can actually use to change how you deal with anxiety.
Yeah, our mission here is to pull out the really potent nuggets from Carnegie. We'll look at how worry really affects us maybe more than you think. And then we'll get into the actionable techniques, real strategies backed by some pretty compelling stories to help you find a bit more peace, more effectiveness in your life.
Right. The goal is to give you a clear, sort of concise understanding, not just what to do, but really why it matters, and how these ideas have genuinely helped people.
Okay, let's start with something maybe unexpected. We usually think of worry as just in our heads, right? A mental thing. But Carnegie shows it's much more serious. It has this profound physical and mental cost. Let's unpack that.
Absolutely. That's a key point in the book. Worry isn't just an inconvenience, it's a genuine health hazard. You've got Nobel laureate Dr. Alexis Carrel saying things like, businessmen who do not know how to fight worry die young. And it's not just for CEOs, it applies to everyone.
Wow, die young. That's stark.
It is, and studies back this up. The Mayo Clinic looked at thousands of patients with stomach issues, right? Found that for most of them, like 4 out of 5, there was no physical cause. It was things like fear, worry, emotional distress. It makes you think of Plato, thousands of years ago, saying doctors mess up by trying to cure the body without the mind.
So psychosomatic medicine is sort of catching up to ancient wisdom.
Pretty much, yeah. It really highlights how deeply connected our minds and bodies are.
Okay, so it's not just a feeling. It's actively harming us physically. What other kinds of damage does Carnegie point to?
Well, it's a major contributor to nervous breakdowns. Carnegie cites figures suggesting the vast majority are caused by worry and emotional conflict. It was apparently so widespread that during World War II, 1 in 6 draftees was rejected for mental health reasons, often linked to this.
1 in 6? That's incredible.
Yeah, and in severe cases, it can push people towards retreating into their own world, almost like escaping reality. Think about that story of General Grant. He had this splitting headache, right? Then he gets the news. Lee surrendered, and poof, headache gone, instantly.
Shows that direct link, doesn't it? Emotion to physical symptoms.
Exactly. And it goes further. An arthritis expert, Dr. Cecil, links the condition to things like marital problems, financial disaster, long-held grudges. It even affects how you look. Merle Turon, the actress, she apparently refused to worry because she knew it curdles the expression, causes wrinkles.
Vanity is a cure for worry. But seriously, it sounds like worry is this slow, insidious attack on body and mind. So if it's that bad, what can we actually do? Carnegie must have some practical steps. Where do we start?
He definitely does. Really practical formulas. And the first step sounds almost too simple. It's get the facts.
Okay, get the facts. Why is that the starting point when your mind's just racing?
Because, as Dean Hawkes from Columbia University found after dealing with tons of students, confusion is the chief cause of worry. He basically said half the world's worry comes from people trying to decide things before they actually know enough. His advice, just focus on getting the facts. Often the problem just sorts itself out.
Makes sense. Less confusion, less worry.
Right. But Carnegie adds a warning. We tend to look for facts that just confirm what we already believe,
Yeah.
Confirmation bias. So it's crucial to be objective, really impartial. Don't just guess or assume, investigate. Find out what's really going on.
Okay, so get the real facts, not just the ones that fit your narrative. Then what?
Then you analyze those facts and make a decision. And Carnegie found, just from his own experience, that writing things down makes analyzing much, much easier. It echoes Charles Kettering, the inventor, who said, a problem well stated is a problem half solved.
Writing it down. Yeah, getting it out of your head, I can see that. But sometimes just starting that analysis feels impossible when you're swamped with worry. Any tips for that initial hurdle?
There is, and a really powerful example is Galen Litchfield's story. He was in Shanghai during the Japanese occupation, 1942, facing possible torture. Terrifying stuff. But he didn't just panic. He sat down, took out paper, and wrote, 1, what am I worrying about? And 2, what can I do about it?
Yeah.
He listed his options, the likely outcomes. Then he calmly chose one, just go to the office as usual. And doing that, making that clear decision, brought immense relief. Probably saved him.
Wow. Methodical, even under that kind of pressure. Clarity through analysis.
Exactly, and putting it on paper can be that crucial first step.
Which leads right into the third rule, doesn't it? Do something about it. Because all that fact-finding and analyzing is useless without action.
Totally. Carnegie says without action, it's just whistling upwind, a waste of energy. William James put it well. Once you've decided, act. And stop worrying about the outcome. Just act decisively based on your analysis. No second guessing.
Like that publisher, Leon Shimkin. He cut down his worried meetings just by defining the problem, the cause, and then acting.
Precisely. The takeaway is clear. Thought without action is just, well, it's just more worry in disguise. Decide, then do.
Carnegie also talks about this magic formula from Willis Carrier, the air conditioning guy. It sounded almost backward when I first read it.
It does seem counterintuitive, yeah. But Carrier used it to handle a huge potential failure early on. Multi-million-dollar stuff. It's 3 steps. First, fearlessly figure out the absolute worst that could possibly happen. For Carrier, it was losing his job and his company losing $20,000.
Okay, face the worst.
Second, mentally accept that worst outcome. Reconcile yourself to it, if it comes to that. Carrier said that this brought him immediate peace. It's huge.
Acceptance brings peace. Got it.
And third, once you've accepted the worst, calmly put your energy into improving on that worst-case scenario. Carrier did this. He found a fix, spent a bit more, and actually turned that $20,000 potential loss into a $15,000 profit.
Amazing. Confront the fear, accept it, then problem solve from a place of calm.
That's the power of it. You stop the frantic worrying and free up your mind.
These are big principles. But what about, everyday life, the small stuff that drives us nuts? Does Carnegie have tools for that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
He talks about not sweating the small stuff. So many of us handle big crises okay, but then let these little beetles of worry get to us. There's that legal saying, de minimis non curat lex, the law doesn't sweat the small stuff. Carnegie says worriers shouldn't either.
Like Rudyard Kipling losing his home over an argument about hay.
Exactly. A total trifle, but look at the consequence. It's like that giant old tree in the forest survives storms, lightning, everything. Then tiny beetles bring it down.
So the practical advice is keep perspective. Don't let tiny things ruin your peace.
Pretty much. Don't make mountains out of molehills.
Speaking of perspective, that leads nicely into the law of averages. We torture ourselves over things that are statistically, super unlikely, don't we?
We really do. And the law of averages is such a great reality check. Think about Lloyd's of London. They make fortunes insuring against disasters that just don't happen as often as people fear. Carnegie tells the story of a fruit distributor, Jim Grant, worried constantly about train wrecks, but his actual experience. 5 wrecks and 25,000 shipments.
Wow, that's a tiny percentage.
Tiny. 5,000 to 1 odds against a wreck in his case, and 0 bridge collapses ever, but he's still worried.
So the takeaway is, look at the actual odds, step back. Is this fear realistic?
Exactly. So often it's not.
Okay, another strategy you mentioned, keeping busy. How does that work against worry?
Well, psychology tells us it's basically impossible for our minds to focus intensely on more than one thing at a time. So if you fill your mind with productive, engaging activity, enthusiasm for that activity can actually push worry out.
Like crowding it out.
Yeah, exactly. Like Marion Douglas, the guy who lost his kids. He made that huge list of jobs around the house, 242 things, kept himself intensely busy, and found relief from grief. Or Charles Kettering, the inventor, working away in his lab, so absorbed he didn't have time to worry about being poor.
So it's not just distraction, it's replacement. Purposeful activity replaces anxiety.
That's the core idea.
But wait, if keeping busy is good, what about burnout? Don't we just trade worry for exhaustion? Seems like a bit of a paradox.
It does seem like one, but it's not, really. Because most fatigue, especially for, say, office workers, isn't actually physical. It's mental and emotional. Dr. Hadfield said most fatigue is mental. The Metropolitan Life Insurance Company points to worry, tension, emotional upset as major causes of fatigue.
So the tension itself is tiring.
Exactly. A tense muscle is a working muscle. So we actually need to learn to relax actively. William James called it the gospel of relaxation. Tension is a habit. Relaxing is a habit. We can change it.
How do we do that, practically?
Carnegie suggests starting small. Relax your muscles, especially your eyes. Apparently they use a ton of nervous energy. Do it in odd moments. Go limp like an old sock, he says. Or watch a cat. They're masters of relaxation.
Okay, find moments to consciously relax.
And rest before you get tired. Look at Winston Churchill. Worked insane hours in his late 60s, but took frequent rests and naps. It kept him going.
Strategic relaxation and rest. Makes sense. What about talking things out? Sometimes holding it all in feels like the strong thing to do, but maybe it's not.
Definitely not always the best way. Carnegie mentions psychoanalysis and clinics that emphasize catharsis, just talking troubles over. Putting worries into words helps you gain insight, perspective, often brings immediate relief.
So find someone trustworthy.
Yeah, a friend, family member, doctor, therapist, whoever. Ask for advice, or sometimes just ask them to listen while you talk it through. It's not about complaining endlessly. It's about articulating to find clarity.
Got it. Let it out. Okay, this next one feels a bit like business advice. Good working habits. How does that fight worry?
Because disorganized work creates mental clutter, pressure, fatigue, all breeding grounds for worry. Carnegie lays out 4 key habits. 1. Clear your desk. Keep only the immediate task in front of you. Clutter equals confusion and stress.
Simple but effective. Okay, 2.
Do things in order of importance. Prioritize. Stops you feeling overwhelmed. Like George Bernard Shaw writing his 5 pages daily, no matter what. That was his priority.
Focus on what matters most. 3.
If you have the facts, solve the problem then and there. Don't postpone decisions. Procrastination just breeds worry.
Decide and move on. And 4.
Learn to organize, delegate, and supervise. Don't try to do everything yourself. That leads to overwhelm and burnout. Delegate effectively.
So good work habits basically reduce mental friction, freeing up energy.
That's the idea. Less friction, less worry.
I love this next one. Making dull jobs interesting. We can't always change the job, but we can change our attitude, right?
It comes down to where your interests are, there is your energy also. You have the power to create interest. Like Carnegie's wife, who turned a boring, form-filling job into a daily competition with herself. Made it engaging, more efficient, and she was happier.
So gamify it or find a challenge within it.
Exactly. Or find something to learn. That kid washing dishes, Harlan Howard, he got interested in ice cream chemistry, made the job interesting, and it led to a whole career in food tech.
It's about choosing engagement, finding something in the task.
Precisely. You
Okay.
change your approach, not necessarily the task itself.
Okay, so those are some great practical tools. But Carnegie also goes deeper into psychological shifts, even spiritual ones, for building resilience. Let's talk about handling criticism. That's a big one.
A huge one. His key thought here is, remember that no one ever kicks a dead dog. Criticism often means you're actually doing something significant, something worth noticing.
That's a great reframe.
Isn't it? Think of Eleanor Roosevelt. Her aunt told her, basically, don't worry what people say if you know you're right. That became her Rock of Gibraltar. Or Lincoln during the Civil War, facing constant attacks. He essentially said, if I worried about every attack, I'd get nothing done. If I succeed in the end, the criticism won't matter.
So develop a thick skin and trust your own judgment.
And recognize criticism might say more about the critic than about you.
Okay, next. Self-appraisal and learning from mistakes. This requires some real honesty, looking inward instead of blaming everything else.
Brutal honesty, sometimes. Napoleon apparently said, no one but myself can be blamed for my fall. Taking responsibility. Like H.P. Howell, the finance guy. Every Saturday, he reviewed his week. What mistakes did I make? What can I learn? It made him better over time.
A regular self-audit.
Kinda, yeah. And crucially, don't saw sawdust, as one editor put it. Don't keep worrying about things already done. Learn the lesson, then move on. Reflect, don't ruminate.
Learn, don't dwell. Got it. Now this one's really tough for a lot of people. Letting go of resentment, forgiving, not seeking revenge.
It is tough. Carnegie uses that analogy of the grizzly bear avoiding the skunk because, well, it didn't pay.
Yeah.
Holding on to hate hurts you most? Shakespeare nailed it. Heat not a furnace for your foe so hot that it do singe yourself.
So holding grudges burns you up inside.
Totally. Eisenhower, Bernard Baruch, they made it a rule not to waste time thinking about people they disliked. And think about Lawrence Jones, that teacher in Mississippi facing a lynch mob. He didn't fight hate with hate. He talked about his positive work and turned them around.
So forgiveness is really about freeing yourself.
Exactly. It's for your own peace of mind.
Okay, another one that might go against the grain, giving without expecting gratitude. We usually want to thank you, don't we?
We do. It's natural. But Carnegie says, if we want to find happiness, let's stop thinking about gratitude or ingratitude and give for the inner joy of giving. His own parents, even when poor, found joy in secretly helping others, expecting nothing back. Aristotle saw the ideal person as someone who enjoys doing favors but feels awkward receiving them.
So the reward is in the act itself.
Yes. Carnegie points out ingratitude is common, natural like weeds. Gratitude needs cultivation, like a rose. Jesus healed 10 lepers, only one said thanks. Why should we expect more?
That's a humbling perspective. Give unconditionally.
That's the goal. Next up, counting your blessings. This sounds simple, maybe even cliche, but Carnegie really emphasizes why it works.
Because, as Schopenhauer said, we usually focus on what we lack, not what we have. And Carnegie calls that tendency the greatest tragedy on earth. He tells stories like Harold Abbott, the broke grocer, who saw a legless man smiling broadly and suddenly felt incredibly rich just having legs. It shifted his whole mood.
Perspective again. Totally. Or the wounded sergeant on Guadalcanal. Once he knew he'd live and talk, his worries vanished. He was like, what the hell am I worrying about? Carnegie pushes us. Would you sell your eyes, your legs, your family? We're incredibly wealthy in non-monetary ways.
So the practical step is just regularly taking stock of the good things.
Yes, actively count your blessings. It's a powerful antidote to worry and discontent.
I like this next one. Find yourself and be yourself. In a world pushing conformity, he champions authenticity.
Absolutely. Nobody wants a phony, he says. And scientifically, you're unique, that 1 in 300,000 billion chance with your parents' chromosomes, you're something new.
So trying to be someone else is futile.
And counterproductive. Paul Boynton, the employment director, said the biggest mistake job seekers make is not being themselves. Think of Cass Daly, the singer with buck teeth. She only became a star when she stopped hiding them and just belted it out, embracing her uniqueness. Carnegie admitted he wasted years imitating others before realizing he just had to be himself.
Embrace what makes you unique. It's your strength.
That's the core message. Authenticity brings peace.
And this leads to turning minuses into pluses, taking setbacks, disadvantages, even tragedies, and finding strength or opportunity in them. Real resilience.
Yeah, the psychologist Alfred Adler called it a wonder-filled characteristic of humans turning a minus into a plus. Like Delma Thompson, stuck in the Mojave Desert, hating it. She decided to get interested in the local culture, the desert itself, turned a miserable time into an adventure, even wrote a novel.
She changed her focus, her attitude.
Exactly. Or Al Smith, who never finished grade school. He turned that lemon of ignorance, as Carnegie put it, into lemonade by studying relentlessly and becoming an expert on state government, eventually governor.
So look for the opportunity within the adversity.
Find the advantage in the disadvantage. It's about how you frame it and what you do next.
Which brings us back to mental attitude, doesn't it? And cheerful action.
It all comes back to the mind. Emerson, a man is what he thinks about all day long. Carnegie distinguishes between concern, calmly taking steps, and worry, that useless, frantic circling. And attitude impacts physical strength, too. Remember that hypnosis experiment? People were literally stronger when they believed they were strong.
Wow. Mind over matter. Literally.
Which leads to a key rule. Think and act cheerfully, and you will feel cheerful. It's William James's idea again. Action and feeling go together. If you act cheerful, speak cheerfully, you can actually become cheerful.
Fake it till you make it, essentially.
In a way, yes. Regulate the action to regulate the feeling. Even when you've lost cheerfulness, act as if it's already there.
Okay, now, a topic often skipped in modern self-help, the role of religious faith. Carnegie saw this as significant.
Very significant. His own parents found peace amid hardship through their faith and prayer. And it wasn't just personal anecdote. He quotes Dr. Carl Jung, the famous psychiatrist, who said basically every patient over 35 he saw ultimately needed to find a religious or a spiritual outlook on life to truly heal.
Dohm said that. Interesting.
Yeah. And people like Henry Ford credited faith for their peace amidst huge responsibilities. Ford apparently said, I believe God is managing affairs, so what is there to worry about?
Yeah.
Dr. Alexis Carrel, the Nobel scientist, called prayer the most powerful form of energy one can generate, seeing patients lifted by it.
What's the mechanism there, according to Carnegie?
Prayer helps articulate troubles, provides a sense of sharing burdens, not being alone, especially with deep worries you can't share easily. It provides connection and perspective.
A sense of connection and support. Okay, one last major point, which might seem tangential, but Carnegie insists is fundamental. Choosing your vocation wisely.
Yeah.
Your job.
Absolutely fundamental. If you spend half your waking life doing work you hate, that's a massive source of worry, frustration, regret. Thomas Carlyle said, blessed is the man who has found his work. David Goodrich said, success requires having a good time at your work.
Yet people put more thought into buying clothes than choosing a career.
That's what Paul Boynton, the employment expert, lamented. Carnegie urges careful exploration. Talk to people in fields that interest you. Use vocational guidance cautiously. And crucially, don't think there's only one perfect job for you. Most people can succeed and find fulfillment in several fields.
Like Phil Johnson, who hated the family laundry but loved mechanics and ended up running Boeing.
Perfect example. Finding work that aligns with your interests and talents is key to reducing a major source of life's anxieties. Invest time in that choice.
Wow. Okay, we have covered so much ground here, from how to stop worrying and start living. It's incredible how much control we potentially have. From understanding the real physical cost of worry to getting facts, acting, not sweating the small stuff, finding interest in dull work, forgiveness. It's a whole toolkit.
It really is. And those deeper shifts too, self-awareness, learning from mistakes, gratitude, being authentic, and maybe finding strength in faith or spirituality. The core message seems to be about empowering ourselves, cultivating that resilient mindset, finding purpose.
Yeah, it's not about avoiding challenges, is it? It's about changing how we respond to them, bending, not breaking.
Exactly. I like that quote from Corey Ten Boom. Worry is a cycle of inefficient thoughts whirling around a center of fear.
That really captures it.
Yeah.
So, after this deep dive, maybe the question for everyone listening is, what inefficient thoughts are you ready to let go of? And what's one proactive step you can take, maybe inspired by Carnegie, to break that cycle and start living more fully?
Because, as Guy Finley said, nothing in the universe can stop you from letting go and starting over. The choice and the power to change your relationship with worry really is yours.
Great final thought. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep living.